to him.
Oh, Thresh, Lulu removed away, so 2 supports dropped out. Voidal still has ones to go for. Interestingly enough, though, he plays both those plenty, but Braum is on the table. That's the potential first pick for these guys.
The funny thing is that every game Voidal played in Summer Series 1, because he played 5 out of the 7, he picked Braum. He got Braum every single game. Is this going to be a different game, or are they going to first pick it for him?
6 for 6?
Yeah, because even if you first pick like Twisted Fate, there's still Syndra to fall back on, and then nope, they're going to go for it.
You called it out, though. And we'll see if that's what Nicky's going to play here in this one. Syndra not immediately apparent on his solo queue, so maybe he's practiced on it, maybe he's not, though. Something to keep in mind. Aurelia auto-locked, though. No top lane ban, save the Lulu. Vizichachi wants that. Dan going to get Lee Sin, the heavily sought-after jungler. Not a surprise there for him.
Yeah, Dan loves playing the Lee Sin. He actually has 301 games on it in solo queue. His next highest is 70. So
Kha'Zix.
Exactly.
No one plays anymore, except for
and then
Koreans.
it's Elise at like 65. But at the same time, this is something that I've said about Lee Sin all the time in the office. If you're a Lee Sin main, you pretty much only play Lee Sin.
Yeah.
And then if you don't play Lee Sin, you don't play him at all. Nope. You're like, I don't even touch that guy. Nobody's like, I'm kind of good with Lee Sin. It's like, no, you either don't play him or you only play him. There's just huge extremes in that champion.
Yep. Same with like the Thresh mains as well. It's like one of those kind of champions. Ko, though, gonna lock in Lucian here for Freeze. The Braum does go over to Voidal.
That's a 6th game with it.
So there you
go.
go.
Every time we've seen Voidal, he's gotten Braum.
Why not? Just keep going for it. Pick that one up for himself. So, NIP keep the lineup going.
I think a big part of it is that he has Alex Ich on his team and Freeze and all these other players that you don't want them to get champions. Ko, you don't want him to get Lee Sin. Alex, you don't want him to get something he's comfortable on.
Sure.
And it's just so many different people that Voidal's kind of an afterthought, but then in the games you're like, oh.
I mean, he's real good. Like, support's like the most important part of the bottom lane, realistically. Unless you're going to miss every CS like on purpose as an AD carry, like generally speaking,
sometimes
supports determine everything.
Targon's got your back sometimes.
Yeah, oh, exactly. Great. More reason to pick up Braum, buy Targon's, and make sure Freeze can't miss any here for himself. Leona gonna come in. We don't see her often, but she's there. Corki also grabbed up. Unicorns of Love, interesting lineup.
It's a very interesting lineup here. In that top lane, just leaving him on an island there, but of course he'll get visited by Alex H a lot. In this bottom lane, at the same time, Leona goes in. She doesn't really have a way out.
Maybe she won't need one if she's tanky enough. There's not crazy damage on the NIP lineup. A lot of brawliness, a lot of ways to engage fights. Gragas, Twisted Fate, they can pick fights up, but I feel like a lot of pressure is now on, I keep wanting to say Ko, on Freeze to deal heavy damage in the backline here.
Yeah, he's going to be a backline damage dealer here, but he's also going to have Alex alongside him. Alex will probably dive once he completes the Zonias and gets to that point. But right now, it looks like a flanking team with a lot of CC, because there's a lot of CC in this team.
Oh, yeah. NIP going to be well able to pick the fights they want. If UOL ever gets out of position, life's going to be pain. But Unicorns of Love also wanting the team fights there. Aurelia can split push. She's got TP to rejoin. But Leona, Orianna, Lee Sin to get in there as well. A whole bunch of hard engage for Unicorns of Love as well. Yeah,
they're going to be coming straight at you. Ninjas in Pyjamas are going to try to flank you. And they can also make kind of a vacuum, have 3 people that it looks like Unicorns of Love want to engage on. Just start backing up, sucking them in, and then flank them with Twisted Fate, flank them with Braum. You can have a lot of different options here. Evelyn's going to be in the back pretty much regardless, trying to get an engage on the back line.
Yeah.
But yeah, so far, I actually really like this team composition of Ninjas in Pyjamas right now because of all the CC they have, but also the fact that I do like the Gragas matchup in the top lane.
Like Gragas versus Aurelia.
I'm becoming more and more educated on Gragas matchups.
Sure.
Especially because it's becoming more and more popular. We saw it in Korea, wasn't very successful, but then we kept seeing it in NA, mild success, EU, even more success now, and it's becoming one of those top laners that is definitely in the meta and definitely top tier. Because on paper, he looks really, really good. And then people are figuring out the build, hashing it out, and then figuring out the matchups.
Yeah.
It's not just who you play against, and they have to figure out how to play against a Gragas. You also have to figure out how to play against that champion.
True.
And I think that Gragas versus Aurelia is actually a good matchup for Gragas.
Well, we'll see, of course. Both teams kind of opted into it. Unicorns of Love blind picked the Aurelia, knowing Gragas was open. And, of course, Cowboyshard went for that himself, knowing everything here. Going to get ourselves into the game. And I do want to touch back on what you said a little bit ago. You talked about the lineups there, saying that UOL has to run in at you head first and then drop the CC. And you said, well, NIP have all these kinds of other ways of getting in there. And that's really the big point. Alex Ich, the Ghost Flash TF, the standard build now for him, can pick whatever fight he wants. And UOL has to respect that the entire game.
or they can go ahead and engage before they get the flank on.
Sure.
Like, there's a lot of different things here. And I'm going to want to watch Ko very closely because he's usually a facilitator of the early game. His style is very similar. If you were watching H2K yesterday and saw Trashy, very, very similar play styles in terms of forcing things, whether it's a flash, whether it's a summoner spell in the lane, and then getting out and coming back and getting that almost guaranteed kill off in the second gank. Turret diving, nope. Ko will go straight for it. Granted, turrets are a little stronger in terms of ramp-up time, but I don't know if Ko's going to have respect for that. I think he's just going to run straight in and try to dive people.
I think that's pretty likely. I mean, one thing you can do is ward the Lee Sin counter ganks. It's much harder to do for an Evelynn. You've got to either get her on her camps or get pink wards down on her roots. So Ko has the ability to get ganks that people don't see coming, and that could lend him some aggression.
I like it when they scream.
I remember talking to one of my pro jungle friends. I forget who it was.
Such a memorable pro.
Hey, I mean, good player either way. But he's talking about Evelynn versus Lee Sin, and basically saying that, like, you're equal unless Evelynn loses her flash, and then she can no longer play aggressively because she will immediately die to Lee Sin if he ever sees her again.
We saw a lot of that in the EG matchup in Super Week, where Helios lost his flash, and then they kept invading the jungle. I think it was Elise versus Evelynn in that case, but they kept invading over and over again, and you just can't do anything at that point. You try to do a camp, you're visible, and you're going to get caught.
True. NIP didn't go for the death brush. They walked in there and said, you know what, we'll just go ahead and kill some minions real quickly. Ko, without much of a leash, just a barrel from Cabochard, going to start top side. Same here for Dan. Pretty equal clears so far for these guys.
At the same time, though, they didn't get a leash, so it's going to be a little bit slower in terms of jungle route. But this bottom, immediately applying the pressure here. Actually, that's really good for NIP.
He has to respect Corki's damage, though. You saw that he wanted to send Helioslang, but could not do so. So good protection there by Vardogs to say, hey, got my support.
I want to watch this duel up top. Aurelia is one of those champions that doesn't turn on until level 9, and then after that, it really becomes about your itemization, how quickly you get the items. If you get shut down early, which will most likely happen, I think Alex is going to make a lot of visits up top to his new team member, get him going, but then Cabochard Gragas to bully the early game, and then transition to the late game too, because Gragas does that a lot better than people think he does.
Absolutely.
Especially depending on your build. Some people are like, I'm going to go Rod of Ages, Iceborne Gauntlet. Some people are like, I'm going to go Spirit Visage.
All AP.
All AP.
Who knows?
Yeah, there's many different builds. People are still hashing it out.
Yeah. Yeah, well, let us see what the adaptations are. I know we've been talking to players about the Aurelia builds to see what their goals end up being. We'll see who else learns their own adaptations. Top lane pushed out. Cabochard's got to be aware of Lee Sin being able to gank him right here. Level 3. Gonna get his wards down now, but there was that small risk that, I don't think he was able to see where Lee Sin had started.
Well, he would have known a little bit because the bottom lane had told him that they were there immediately.
A lot of pros will just not leash in order to keep that information hidden, though. So, some do, some don't. Like, Cabochard could have thrown a barrel at a blank camp with no one there just to hide it, right? Like I do know of some pros who will like fake leash and like spend some mana or take some damage, walk to lane.
So there's the percentage chance, but I think that most of the time you will leash when they're on the bottom side.
Okay, that's fair.
Because if they do it, and you don't, your jungler's behind in the first gank.
That's fair. Well, Dan going to keep his farm going to level 4 on Lee Sin. Just barely hasn't gone for the back just yet. One thing with 4-11 so far is...
yeah, go ahead.
The jungle pools haven't... all the top junglers have stayed around. We haven't seen a lot of the new ones come out just yet.
Ko's sitting there in the jungle. Dan has no potions left because Hunter's Machete is a little more expensive. You don't get that extra potion. So Ko actually saw Dan. He's actually unstealthed right now, so he's waiting for his passive to come back up. And there he goes.
Goes in for the damage right there. Dan very low on health. Look at the burst coming out. Jumps to a minion, but first blood comes through. Ko's stunned out of the turret. Vizicachi, will he keep chasing? I don't think he quite can. Looked for it, but not. First blood to NIP.
Yeah, that little extra damage that Dan took from doing that camp and not having that other potion was really big in that gank. If he was a full HP, he may have been able to get out there just by the skin of his teeth. And this is the style right here. Are they going to dive this? He's getting damage reduction.
Cabochard would have to tank the first shot. There he goes. Blitz auto attack stun comes through, but Vizicachi's not going to be able to get any more damage into Ko. And out they go. Nicely done, Ninjas in Pyjamas.
Well coordinated there. Cabochard, the newest member of the team, synergizing with Ko perfectly and his style and understanding what he wants to accomplish in the early game.
So good fights right there. Beautiful stuff. It does mean Flash is down for the Evelynn. Just might matter, but I mean, 2 kills is great. Double longsword plus Spirit Stone is an incredible item gap for Ko.
Yeah, over boots,
Yeah.
aren't going to mean a whole lot of a difference against Evelynn.
No.
Gets movement speed based off her passive on W.
Catalyst already done as well for Cabochard, so he is not going to be easily pushed out of lane. Ninjas and Pyjamas.
He's in a great spot right now.
Oh man, even the bottom lane's winning as well. You can see 41 to 32. They've been able to push these guys around a little bit.
When Alex hits 6, which is going to be a very short while, he'll have his pick of the litter where he wants to gank.
To be fair, actually, no flashes burned for UOL. Despite the fact they've both died, they held on to their summoner spells. So this first TF gank could just mean a flash.
We see Ko actually coming around the backside mid.
And Nicky's got to be careful. He's going to flash away from this one. Ko, of course, can't chase it. Flash for the last kill, but hey.
Alex has 2 mobility summoners. What's up with that? Didn't use one.
I don't know. I think he had no spells up for the stun on the turret. Cabochard level 6. You saw him try to all in the Aurelia a little bit. She's on a half HP. Teleport is down for Vizicachi. Save for Cabochard, but Dan
wrapping around.
He snuck in. Full health for the UO bottom lane, or enough to matter here. All summoners available.
If they get a gank here, they might be able to get Dragon off of this because Ko is top. There's the level up.
Are they good actors?
Thing is,
like NIP staying aggressive. Voidal puts the shield up. Lee Sin not really waiting around, close enough to jump into that fight. He could have gone in.
He thinks it's warded there because of the way that they were acting. Look at that, Ko's gonna show top. Ooh, nice flash.
So that's now the flash down for the top laner, and Alexich has the ulti available. These are all risky things. Dan will counter jungle after seeing Evelynn up there. It's a good choice for him, but Unicorns of Love will need more than just some wraiths being stolen to get back in this game.
Yeah, this bottom lane winning in CS by 14. Mid lane, Alex hitting the level 6, ready to gank, has both summoners available, and here we go.
Not a good spot for a Nikki, but here comes Dan to try to protect them. Level 6
Shockwave.
Shockwave, good flash, but he's going to go in anyway, trying to find Alex, can't quite get it. Dan forced to flash away. Ward hops out, a couple hits from Dead, and they're gonna stay just safe. Flash is lost on both sides.
Alex used both of his mobility summoners there, so he has none available to him at this moment. They're gonna go ahead and steal the red because of that perfect timing there, and they're just taxing more of Dan's jungle.
Really nicely played by NIP. Also in the bottom lane, by the way, the summoner heal of Corki and the flash of Hylissang are actually gone right here. Voidal
gonna chase him down.
with the slowdown. There's the Valkyrie. He'll stay safe. But this bot lane is getting better and better for Ninjas and Pyjamas.
Voidal does that all of the time. He will overstep the boundaries of the turret and say you either walk closer to the turret and then maybe we'll dive you, or you walk away and then we'll go after you without the help of the turret even possible.
They would have died.
Yeah.
Let's be real. There was one choice there, and it was get the heck out if your Vardog's there. Nice harass still for Cabochard. He's playing nice and happy here. This is Chachi putting a bit of damage back, but
it's hard to trade.
Yeah. And again, Gragas just keeps standing up.
Yep. A happy hour is going to give him 4% of his HP every 8 seconds. And free mana cost on W, so it doesn't cost you anything to do that.
But look at this, though. Unicorns of Love, they are not staying down. You're seeing Dan kind of jungle the Wraiths not long ago after seeing Evelynn top lane. They've also stolen away this red buff here with him and a Nikki. So UOL, definitely not pushovers. Yes, they are down on gold. Yes, NIP are playing phenomenally well. But they are not down and out here. Even Dragon's going down now.
UOL is going to go try to make this a little bit of a less gap in gold, but Ko, he has no flash. Or
no way
he sees it.
No smite either. There's no way.
Yeah, nothing to do.
So look at that. Unicorns of Love back within 1,000 gold. Great play by these guys to get back in. The blue buff also up for a Nikki here. So really, they can erase a lot of this early game deficit, and it's just now on the individual contributors.
And another big thing, too, is that Dan has red.
Yep.
Even though his got stolen away. So pretty much goes even across the board.
They went even on buffs. Absolutely correct here. So Ko clears most of his red camp out, gets the timer. 14 minutes, 20 seconds roughly on that one. And he's going to keep farming for now. Evolty back up soon. He might use that to regang. But what I was talking about as far as NIP being the favorites here, if they're going to win, it's on individual contributions. It's the 101 Evelynn who's got to keep making plays. It's the plus 17 CS 80 carry of Freeze. Those are the guys who are ahead that can make things happen.
Yeah, and Alex so far, that first Destiny wasn't that effective and actually got both summoner spells off of him for almost nothing. I mean, they got a couple summoner spells off Dan.
Traded.
And they got the red, but then the red was just returned by Dan.
Absolutely. So, red buff just cleared out. Both these guys now. Actually, NIP does know that timer, though. They had a ward on that red buff, so maybe 1450 we see them try again for this. But I do want to see how this keeps playing out. I always try to look at the teams that are favorites and say, why exactly are they so high rated? Why were they top 2 last time? If you're against an arguably weaker opponent, someone you 2-0'd last time, what makes you win? And right now, they're just saying, well, we're going to out-CS you in the laning phase. Yeah. That's an acceptable way to win unless UOL can make plays.
They're winning off individual skill.
Yep.
Their calling in the later game is a little more crisp, but right now when you have roster swaps and changes, there's always a little bit of dysfunction in the team at the start.
You got to be careful in this top lane, though, because Lee Sin's waiting to go for this one. But here
Alex
comes
looking
the...
for
Yeah, filing for TF. There's Evelyn as well. But they're going to definitely catch Hylissang. Nice ulti comes in. Do they have the damage? Looks like they will. Gold card makes it happen. Alex Ich claims the kill. Nothing even happens in the top lane. Cabochard got out. No gank for Dan whatsoever.
Alex blew the ghost even before popping the gate part of his destiny. So he's just ready to chase down with multiple yellow cards. Ko wrapping it around at the bottom. They're going to get themselves a turret.
Nice aggressive play. They send 4 guys down bottom. They don't leave till the structure falls as well. So even if UOL can push down the mid lane, they still won't get as much. And in fact, great play Ninjas and Pyjamas. They keep 4 bottom lane. They send Braum to ward, and they keep pushing the turret down.
This is so good by Cabochard. He has so much available to him. He could flash body slam, use his ultimate, force his Vizichachi to get off.
Look at that, bottom tier 2 down to about 2/3 health. Top outer is gone. Actually, wow, turret's lower than I thought. Hylissang pretty low. Requires a lot of attention to him. Unicorns of Love do stay to push down the mid lane. They equalize one of those outer turrets. And if he will back off.
No extra gold.
Except for the top lane 1v1 that they were winning. Oh, no, he backed out?
Yeah, they went 100 and 100 on it.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't get any bonus gold off of it.
So Nikki ran too far back too soon.
Yep.
He's missed out on 150 gold. That's like more than a full minion wave. You kick yourself for missing a cannon minion.
So
you missed 3.
The first outer turrets are worth more.
150 local plus 100 global.
And then when you get to the tier 2s, they're not worth 150 local. They're worth the...
I think it's 100 local and 125 global, I believe is the number. And then inhibitor turrets are 175 global and there's no local gold.
They missed out on like 300 gold.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's only 150.
He missed out on 150 gold.
Splits.
Yeah, missed out on 150 gold for that one. But, you know, not the end of the world. I don't think it's going to make the difference in this game, regardless, either way. Watch, he like gets back with like almost death cap combined. It's Alex like 50 health, and it's like, well,
it's 2 wards.
Should have been by that. It is 2 wards. That's actually a pretty big deal.
Dan,
they're going to jump in there.
Wards.
Dan, oh, the flash
yellow.
Q! Nicely done. Alex Ich finds him.
It's hard to not find him.
Freeze, got to be pretty careful. Nice kill, picked up their Unicorns of Love onto the turret.
And they might get their own right here. Destiny Gate not available for Alex Ich. He also doesn't have the flash or ghost just yet. And they're going to return it. But in this mid lane,
we're just going for hectic game. Everyone's
strong.
playing aggressive.
Yeah, Ko's probably loving this game right now. 100% kill participation on him. He's like, oh yeah, you guys are pushing a turret. Let me wrap around the back and force something. Force them to back off. Force us to get damage on the second tier turret. Like the answers here in terms of numbers from Unicorns of Love have just not been back. That was really good solar flare. They get the flash out of Freeze and the heal, and they end up taking him out. The kill goes to Hylissang, but it's still, kill on Freeze is worth it because you catch up in CS.
Oh yeah, what a prediction though. Like, I just got a fanboy over that for a little bit. Like, that was freaking great.
He's gonna slide here.
Hut. Downwards. Ooh, knocks back to Lee Sin, but he comes back in. Minos tell him no, but he goes in anyway. Kill picked up on Lee Sin for that one. And now Unicorns of Love maybe actually still pushing NIP away. Freeze on the wrong side of this fight.
And they all just get out 1 for 0. Ah, the fights in the jungle.
This is a fun game.
Yeah,
brawly.
It's definitely fun. Unicorns of Love, though, they're showing that they're up to the task.
Yeah, they are. They really are.
I'm really excited for the remainder of this best of 3 and the remainder of this game because it's not so mismatched. They actually seem pretty parity with each other in lanes. It's just that the individual skill of NIP is a little higher. If Unicorns of Love, I don't want to say play it safer, because they have to match the aggression.
You've got to match a lane. Like, you can't like play safe in a lane and not lose in CS.
You have to match them. You have to be aggressive. And that's a test that NIP throwing down on the table.
Well, Ninjas and Pyjamas, they did play around the red buff respawn they knew about. Looks like they managed to get a fight off that one. Now they're grouping up for the Dragon in about 10 seconds. You're seeing Alex Ich is already recalled back. The Evelyn's on the way back as well for Ko. Freeze killing some Wraiths. And they should be ready for this.
They're going to go ahead and get their own red and maybe hand it over to Freeze. So he's ready to go in that bottom lane. He's almost got the IE completed to the Trinity Force already completed by Vardags.
Oh. I was wrong about the top side red, by the way. I was a minute off, so that's actually just respawned now. That was NIP just having ward control and showing up.
Yeah, they didn't clear it for a very long time.
Yeah.
The blue side red, which is so weird to say.
Northern red buff.
Yes.
I use north, south, east, west. It's the east way for me to like pull them apart.
That's definitely easier. So the south red buff.
Yep.
Perfect.
Or yeah, NIP is red buff for the southern red buff. It's got a bit of a drawl.
The southern red. Oh, that took me a second.
It's okay. Ko does take some damage, loses his stealth, but UOL are going to want to hold for this. Vizichachi gets the red buff. I like that. He got the red, recalls for health and mana, has most of a Triforce.
The zoning here from a
They're
Nikki.
looking for it.
If they catch him, though, the barrel's available.
Evolty damage comes through, and Nikki's going to actually, the knockback comes through. There's Solar Flare as well, but Dan goes down anyway. They still don't have Vizichachi. Here comes the TF ulti to nowhere. Didn't even bother to pick that one up for almost anything. There's a knockback in for Voidal. He's going to run away for this one. Wildcards don't quite land. Hylissang in the mix. Now they go in, they find Ko, but it's 2 for 1 so far. NIP win that fight.
Vizichachi is still pretty healthy. There's a blue buff on a Nikki. Still going back and forth. They can poke out. Yeah, they're not going to get a dragon off of this immediately because they don't have their smite available. Whereas Lee Sin is now up and he's trekking his way down here. Unicorn's Love will pick up this dragon if NIP don't defend it properly because the jungler is going to be there much sooner from Dan.
Ooh, this is all kinds of interesting then because Alex Itch actually runs top lane, does not have a way of getting anywhere else there. Looked at Baron. That was a weird miscall because they realized that, like, no, bot's under fire. You've got to get there for Dragon. UOL starts it out right here. Brahm's still on his way around, but it's down to half HP. Vizichachi and Ko just pushing this down, and Unicorns of Love do claim Dragon despite losing the fight prior.
Yep.
NIP in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Their smite just now showed up because he had a lot longer death timer, or he actually died later on in the fight than Dan did. Dan died pretty dang early on, so he was able to get back in the fight. Alex Itch, he used his Destiny actually during that fight, and it got shockwaved, so it interrupted it.
I think
so
he put it in place, though. Like, from where I saw that...
He tried to cast it, and the shockwave sucked him out of the animation, so the cards were still spinning.
Okay, yeah, I got the wrong animation. Yeah, you're right, you're right. He lost the flank attempt.
At the same time, good play there by a Nikki and good play by Unicorns of Love to stay in it, but NIP, they definitely played that to the best of their ability. Could have been a little cleaner, but at the same time, losing Ko is pretty big.
Yep.
They didn't have the smite, and they gave up the dragon.
True. I do have to question one thing, though, as we're talking about junglers for a second. I don't like Dan's choice of Hexdrinker here. Just because he's behind, and he's been getting one shot every single fight over and over again, Hexdrinker, like, buying a longsword at this point, like, it's just not proper durability. Like, I would rather have a Spectre's Cowl than a Hexdrinker, you know, if I'm getting killed by a Twisted Fate or a Gragas or whatever, for a similar cost.
I do agree with the Merc Treads, though.
Yeah, Merc Tread's pretty smart, but
especially against this team.
Until that guy gets some actual health, like, he just is so easily killed, and I'm worried for Dan being 0-4-1. He needs to tank up, and he's not really found a good way to do so.
Yeah, and at the same time, Ko is already on that tanky path, having 100% kill participation still in this game. Moves haven't been made without Ko.
Nope.
You might be making one right now, too. And there they go.
All right, well, he lands the evil. Flash stun comes in. Vardox actually loses his heal move speed because of the stun, and there's a kill picked up under the turret. Nicely done, NIP.
Wow. And that's just the power of Twisted Fate right there with Flash and Ghost.
Yep.
Use Ghost to chase somebody down. Flash, boom. Close that distance, get a yellow card off, and the movement speed from Ko. You saw it there, Ko's just like, we're going. We're going. I don't care how far away I am, I'm going to run and catch up. But look at that. Re-engagement there onto Alex.
Nice knockout from Voidal. They're going to knock him back for now. It looks like it's going to stay safe for Alex. Now Hylissang's got to be a bit careful. Dan comes back, but look how low that guy is. He has no health. Gold card, wild card, kill picked up easily. Chasing towards Hylissang, and here comes Cabochard as well. Nice E into Flash, but is it enough? It is not enough. Cabochard picks up that kill as well. 3 in a row now for NIP.
And the Ghost from Alex used there to close the distance and get that yellow card off again. They just have so much pick potential here, so much catch on the entire team of NIP. They're going to get themselves an inhibitor turret 19 minutes into the game off those beautiful plays back to back.
This has been absolutely great by Ninjas in Pyjamas. What I like especially is they didn't go for like the standard like 1-3-1 split push, shove all the lanes in. They went and played around the jungle, let the lanes push in toward them and say, hey, Corgi's up you know, outside of this turret with nowhere to go. We can flank him, he's outside the base. And just kind of did that over and over again to pick up kills. It was really great play. Playing around the even TF. As you mentioned, they can pick fights out of nowhere.
Yeah, they're making these picks with multiple people, and they're avoiding the 5v5 team fight, which, you're talking about all the engaged from UOL is something you don't want to run head-on into. And NIP's comp, they definitely don't want to do that, because their 5v5 team fight isn't as just easy, I would say.
Yeah.
You'd have to split the fight and have skirmishes.
But at this point, they're also up 5,500 gold, so it gets a bit easier. Unicorns of Love, though, still not going to say die. They steal the blue buff away from Alex Ich, and out they go towards the Baron side. Enough vision does see NIP go to reclaim their jungle, but this is still, like, there's still these ways, and as you mentioned, the 5-on-5 is still a good comp for Unicorns of Love. If they get that one good fight, they flip all the gold back to their favor.
Alex, is he feeling an itch? Oh! It's going top.
The scratch at top lane. Vizichachi can trade stuns with him, and now they start walking backwards. Lands the body slam. Q-Barrel's going to get dodged away. Goes in towards Alex as hard as she can. Does she have enough damage, though? The turret's going to help. One hit gets it. Vizichachi at least gets revenge.
It took so long for the turret to get to Irelia there. He was right out of the range, and he had to get body slammed right in.
But it was enough, and that was a kill picked up. And Unicorns of Love, though, of course, heck, 4v4, they just go down the top lane. Of course, Freeze pushing down the mid is a risk there. And Nikki actually might walk into 1v2 as Ko is going to cut him off as well. Pings it out, knows about that, which means mid-tier 2 might just die. In fact, the Nikki trying to run away from Ko right there. The slows are good, but he's almost out of mana.
Ko is so strong right now, and yeah, there's no mana for a Nikki to actually deal damage. Great zoning there by Ko to allow his teammate to pick up the middle tier 2 turret.
All right, so absolutely the right play there. And ultimately, like, those trades were seemingly equal. Both got a kill, both got a turret. But NIP got an assist on that kill and a more important turret. So even those trades, UOL doing whatever they can. Ninjas and Pyjamas still finding more every time.
Yeah, they're really just running away with more out of things that appear to be equal just at face value. The ward positioning of both teams has actually been spot on in terms of control. It's just that against a Twisted Fate and an Evelynn, it's much harder to wrestle ward control that's significant. Or meaningful ward control,
yeah,
put it that way.
Sure.
So you can have ward control over some camps, but is Ko farming at this point in the game? He'll pick up some lane farm. He'll go ahead and pick up some of those wraiths and
he uses his conservation stacks, but he's not chain farming the jungle. I mean, kind of other people are, to be fair, but there's so much undetectable mobility from Ninjas and Pyjamas, right? They can teleport Cabochard, they can teleport Alex Ich, they can just, you know, sneak around the map with Ko. It's difficult, and to be honest, I'm still impressed that Unicorns have only died 11 times against of course, incredibly strong team.
Yeah, very pick-oriented team that will punish you for just the smallest positional error. And Alex, all of his destinies, except for the first one and the one in Dragon, have been very effective at picking up kills, and in fact, multiple kills.
He's going to look for this run right here. Ghost in, will look for a Nikki, but Vardogs might push him away.
He's level 14. He is huge right now.
Hillsong wanted that fight. I'm not sure if he really did, but Ko's now on the wings as well. Hillsong takes in a decent amount of damage, going to back off, waiting for his W to come back up afterwards, maybe. Killing used up by Freeze. Dragon is back alive. Ninjas and Pyjamas in position for it.
And it looks like they might not contest it here from Unicorns of Love and instead try to push up the mid. Because at this point, if they try to contest it, it would already be gone.
Too good positioning for Voidal there. He would block all the damage output and wouldn't go well. They're looking for mid-tier 2.
Unicorns of Love are putting themselves in a situation where they can easily be flanked by Ko against a team that wants to flank you.
Flash engage for Voidal. Here comes Ko. The battle has begun. Corki is safe in the back lines. What damage can he find? Well, Dan goes down. Shockwave doesn't claim much for it. 1-0 so far. Freeze still on the chase, but it's a 1v3. He's got to be a bit careful. Ko now to rejoin. Stun's going to come out. Finds Ko. Burst damage comes out, but Hillsong too low to survive. 2 kills now for NIP.
A questionable re-engage there from Hillsong. And a questionable move from all of Unicorns of Love there. I was talking in Champion Select. This is a team that wants to flank you. Don't put them in a position where half of their team is behind you already and you're giving them the flank opportunity. We just saw it happen there. Ko. We also saw Voidal come in from the right side. Alex Ich dove the back line with Cabochard, and they just picked off the people that they wanted to get to.
So look at that one. Ninjas and Pyjamas just finding the fights they wanted to. And actually, I thought you were talking about NIP getting the flank. I was like, this is almost the best position that UOL could be in. They were like, oh, maybe they're going to force them through the Wraith camp. No, it was the flash over the wall by Voidal. The flank around by Ko. Things I actually wasn't, even though I can see all the champions, like wasn't expecting that necessarily. And I was like, oh, just kidding, they really did get flanked. And yeah, you're right. It was such a great fight for Ninjas and Pyjamas. They're up 8,000 gold now. This is getting better and better for these guys. Unfortunately, Dan 0-6-1, I got to call it out, but he's not having a very good game.
Yeah, he's not at all having a good game. We see in the mid, Nikki, though, his contributions to the fights haven't been that high. Actually, pretty much non-existent. Hasn't gotten himself a kill. He's done some displacement, but nothing has really been picked up off the back of it. It's just the top lane. And now, Alex, he has flash available. Is he going to use it?
Ooh, gold card, shockwave hits, goes into the flash. They go for it. Nikki's shield comes back on. Q's going to land on a Hylissang. Trying to get away. Alex just lands another gold card. The barrels hit him. Cabochard claims that kill. Nicely done. Hylissang forced to flash over the wall, but now Vardog slowed up. Can they chase him out? Yes, they can. Another one goes through. In fact, Hylissang sacrifices himself for not much, and into the base they go.
And Vizichachi teleports, but he's behind the team, and all of NIP just moved up. So he was not a contribution to that fight at all, where Cabochard coming up huge for his team there alongside Ko. And Alex, you know, they all just banded together on that one.
Everyone there. Now ulti.
I see you.
Gotta be careful. Walks straight away. Alex wants this, though. Locks a gold card, and here comes Voidal. Actually, Alex, one hit from dead. Vizichachi can't quite claim it. The knockup is there. Voidal keeping the teammates alive. Worth it, I guess.
Yeah, definitely a support play there. Alex going really hard. Alex actually doesn't move off of that shockwave.
Into the wall, yeah.
Right in the trees. They end up getting another gold card onto a Nikki and just picking him up with the explosive cast. And then just trails off to the right side where there's already an inhibitor here. Just exposed, no tower available. And they just get picked off, and an inhibitor falls into the hands of NIP. And now they have that bot inhibitor, and we always talk about it's the most important one to have when you're contesting Baron.
And right now, actually, UOL is the team trying to do this. Vizichachi respawning now, no teleport for about 3 minutes.
It might be a desperate move. It might be a setup.
I don't think they can. Yeah.
Yeah.
They put some wards down. They say, well, maybe we can steal. Dan has his summoners available.
No TP from Vizichachi.
He can keep farming. Maybe, just maybe, he can power up. But it's 11,000 gold. Putting NIP ahead. Vardog's about to run into Voidal here. Actually, yeah, I like that. When you lease the monsters like that, they'll show you when teammates or enemies are coming. Red buff goes to Cabochard, though, so no buffs. Gonna go UOL. Ko wants this fight, though. Looks for Vardogs. 1v3. Cabochard coming up, though. Over the wall he goes. Hylissang now kind of caught out alone. Knocked back into the team. Alex Itch shows up. Great solar flare, great shockwave, but there's no follow-up damage. Imagine if UOL had gold right there.
Yeah.
That could have been some kills. Vizichachi actually looking for freeze here. He's got to be real careful. He'll use one hit from dead. The flash. Vizichachi claims one.
Well, the first pick Aurelia, they gave it to him for a reason.
Yep.
Loves that champion. He loves those duelist types. But at the same time, Cabochard getting the Gragas, he's very proficient on that champion. I've been watching his explosive casts. They are on point to displace people back into the team. Haven't seen him really knock anybody away.
It's fine, though. I mean, everything's been working just fine. When you're the winning team anyway, right? Knock him into your team because that's what you want him to be. 4 minutes going down. Vizichachi's still just farming up as best he possibly can. Is going for the Zephyr build.
Yep.
Why the heck not? With some more attack speed.
Go ahead and push and duel a couple people a bit. Not so much a team fighter at this point. Not very durable.
Need to is the thing.
Yeah, he's not durable. Nobody on that team is.
That is the difficulty. Yeah, if you're not durable, life can be painful. He's 3-3-0 though. Best score on his team. Vizichachi, a guy you can't really complain too much about. He's done some good things overall this game. A lot of vengeance too. He'll go in and trade one before he goes down. But Ninjas and Pyjamas as a team, I mean, I think it's sort of a team MVP here. They had a good laning phase. Ko made some great plays early on. Alex, by mid-game, had some great teleports. And it's honestly the fact that NIP are just aggressive the whole time, continually catching people out. It's 29 minutes. Like, this is a fast game. And they're, like, ready to knock down the death blow.
A big thing here, too, is that NIP, 10K gold up. That's huge at this point in the game. We came into it and we talked about their individual skill. They have teamwork too.
Yeah, they do. Voidal, being a teamwork man, there's a jump in. They're gonna look for a Nikki. He's gonna be in range of the gold card. Wild cards come out and a kill is picked up. Ulti will hit Hylissang and down he goes as well. Freeze. 146 gold for that kill. Just not worth a lot anymore. Vizichachi is like, well, 3v5, not gonna get much there. Vardog's gotta be a bit careful. Flash stun's gonna land. Evolt as well, and down he goes. Over and over again, NIP just relentless to pick up kills. They jump in now for the first Nexus turrets. This is surely going to be game.
TPing to the ward there that he placed down for himself.
Oh!
There's the inhibitor.
MVP inhibitor going to keep the turtle alive for now, but hey, this minion's coming in.
You troll the turrets troll you.
Yep. You deserve that one, Cabochard. Turret now going to drop down. Finally, Alex is actually very low. They took long enough. They actually lost a bunch of health, and suddenly NIP can't close the game out just yet.
Yeah. Imagine if Cabochard had been hitting that thing the entire time.
Yep. There's a chance.
There's a chance it could have gone down in that window, and then maybe they could have taken the inhibitor, come back.
Yep.
Huh?
I think it's confirmed Cabochard is definitely not Fibivin.
Yes. Yes. He's definitely not Fibivin.
Fibivin would have ended the game right about now and came back down to the bot lane.
By himself.
Yep. Wanted all the credit for himself. Solo Nexus kills. I always like Chronolast at the Nexus for the 50 gold. Did you know, actually, that if you don't have a gold value set for something, if it's just blank, the default is 25, meaning that at some point, the game designers wanted those to be worth 50 gold?
Oh.
Now you know. Uh-oh, that trap's not going to work necessarily. Out they go. Alex on the flank, but gets jumped in.
Zonia's.
Nice Zonia's, but he's got to be careful. The rest of the team's still around him. Vizichachi goes in, will find Alex and claims the kill. 1-for-0. Cove flashes out. Voidal gets picked up, actually. This could be the beginnings of a comeback for UOL. The Shockwave will catch Cabochard. Will this be kill number 3? It just might. And yes, it is. Look at that. The 3-for-0. And they could go for Baron.
They're right on top of it. They still have their jungler. They still have everybody up. Can Ko steal? No, he's in the base. This is going to be Unicorns of Love. Baron.
Cobot home guard to try to get here in time, but I don't think he'll make it. UOL got spotted by Alex's ultimate. The fight call was wrong. A 3-for-0. Baron picked up, but there's minions inside the base. Ko could stop the recalls and close this game out.
Nope, it's not going to happen there. Vizichachi's going to go ahead and zone him away, and they're all going to recall. This turret is taking a beating, though, and it goes down. Exposed Nexus here. Unicorns of Love, they look like they're in a good spot, but with that and a Twisted Fate on the field, you always got to be conscious of your Nexus.
Okay, this is a little more interesting because Unicorns of Love just showed that they could win a 5v5, and they got shut down gold for a large number of the kills. They didn't get Ko's, they didn't get freezes, but they got the rest of these guys down. So Cabochard, Alex, worth more gold. Plus Baron buff, worth about 7,000 gold of combat stats, means UOL can fight a 5-on-5. Bot and Hib comes up in about 2 minutes. They weather that storm, they've got 2 minutes left of Baron buff.
Wow.
UOL can make their play.
Vizichachi sorted the occult.
That is not an item I would buy.
But he would. And he's in the Challenger Series.
He did. I mean, he's doing better than I would in this game.
Especially right there.
Wow, heavily in the wrong spot. NIP are suddenly just making all kinds of wrong choices.
Hey, sort of the occult stacks. That kill was worth even more.
Yep. I mean, is this going to be the first ever game in competitive won by a Sword of the Occult Aurelia?
I don't know.
I'm just saying.
Maybe.
There's some real damage available there.
We'll have to see.
Okay.
His tankiness is on the lower side, but
so
clear your brain.
Okay, okay. Yeah, sorry. There's this. I'm like overwhelmed right now. So Unicorns of Love. The entire game we're saying, look, they're making smart choices. They're doing their very best. We can tell they are a good team. Finally, they are rewarded properly for their efforts. Ninjas and Pyjamas got a little bit lax. We called out Cabochard TPing to a ward, didn't need to. Potentially gave up a turret kill they could have gotten. Of course,
Didn't have his TP available either.
Right, of course, that was down for 5 minutes. Really bad Baron fight. They're up 11,000 gold. They think it's a free battle. They're guaranteed to win it. Screwed up, lose 3 kills, lose Baron. Ko gets caught as well.
Force is meaningless.
A big part of that Baron, though, was the ward coverage that UOL had created for themselves. Because NIP backed off of the Nexus, and then they didn't actually go back to the Nexus, they went to the Baron instead. UOL was already there, the wards had expired from NIP, they set up, sweeped, put a pink down, made sure that nobody could see them. Alex uses his ultimate, but then ends up going too far, overextending. They split their damage threats, and Cabochard, he's not actually a huge damage threat at this point. He's kind of bursty.
Yeah.
With his W and just his abilities really right off the bat. Couldn't even blow up a Nikki, and they go 2-for-0, and Unicorns of Love get the Baron. It was really just the positioning that they had, the misplays by NIP, but the capitalization of UOL on the situation with the ward coverage.
Yeah. Well, speaking of ward coverage, teams are kind of reset on this right now. Pink wards are like 90% gone from the map. I think there's literally 1 pink ward left. There's 1 minute left of Baron buff. UOL can potentially push their weight around and try to get wards back down. Get vision so that they can actually start pushing, because they've only taken the outer ring of turrets. They have a lot of room to go if they want to actually win this game and start creating their own pressure, because still UOL feels scared, right? They're hiding on their own side of the map. Their wards are defensive here.
Yeah, Vizichachi won't even go clear that wave that's between tier 1 and 2 turrets, because he's afraid, and now they show themselves bottom for NIP. They're going to try to push up that inhibitor and go for the exposed Nexus, because even if you just get this inhibitor, you can probably muscle through and do a lot of damage to that Nexus.
If NIP wins this fight, they win the game. Baron buff, they waited for it to time out. It's going down in the next few seconds here.
Depending on how much UOL win this fight,
they could wrest control.
They could get a lot off of it.
All right, there's Baron buff. NIP can look for their chance. They are still up 10,000. There's the engage though, but Baron's gone. There's Ko in the front lines, and there's the engage. Shockwave hits onto Alex Hitch, and Hillesong's going for it as best he can. The first death, Alex kicked back as well. Dan is going to go down. He's the first one to drop, and now UOL are routed away. Ko wants this. Alex Hitch does as well. They trade back and forth. Hillesong running from the culling. He will survive that, but Freeze's auto attacks do not let him live. 3 kills for 2 so far. NIP, is this enough to close the game out?
I don't know. They have their AD carry still available. The wave clear from a Nikki Kawashard backs, and now uses his teleport to get back into the fight.
All right, AD mid versus AD top and jungle. Ko low on health, but the inhibitor is gone. Freeze is gigantic. He's pushing forward. Kawashard wants Bardock. Stun's gonna land. Big damage comes through, and they pick him up. Now with Nikki, not in a good spot. 1 versus 3 goes down to Freeze. That's gonna be the game. 36 minutes. Ninjas in pajamas take it 1-0 so far.
And they're looking to go 2-0 in the next game and make a repeat of the quarterfinals. But Unicorns Love, they held up here for a very long time. We thought it was gonna be game a while back, but they definitely held parity.
They really did hold up, and I gotta say, you get slightly better lanes here. That first blood, actually was that 2 kills that happened from Ko? I'm trying to remember how it happened. He got the first blood on Lee Sin, and then they got the dive on Aurelia, exactly. That was a really big part of it, because you saw how good Vizichachi was. Losing team, 6-4-3.
Yeah, highest gold on his team as well.
Right.
Despite being camped in the early game, the other lanes were just kind of losing on their own.
Yeah, they were.
But I liked the game plan from NIP to go camp top and recognizing that Vizichachi is the biggest threat on the team.
It was a good play. Yeah, I mean, just like talk about Vizichachi a little bit more. 90% kill participation as a top laner. That's, I mean, 90% in the first place is a great score. As a top laner is ludicrous. The guy played awesome. The Aurelia was good. I don't know if NIP can spare a ban on it, if they're going to go red side and have to ban Kassadin themselves, but a thing to think about. I agree with you, those early game top lane antics, both junglers were there. Ko outplayed, he was in the brush, he saw Lee Sin, he saw Dan and said, all right, you and me, you ready? He's right here by these trees. We're going to get him, 3, 2, 1, go, first blood. That set the tone for the game a lot. Very particular, small, like, I don't have the right word for it. It's like, a 1 in 100 chance this thing happens, great decision making, okay, that's a kill. And it means you're a smart player, but that thing doesn't happen often. So this is something that could just be corrected by random chance, basically. The UL doesn't give up these types of kills.
Yeah, Dan, though, his jungle pathing and taking a lot of damage in the early game, it was just a little bit of... There's a lot that goes into that, though. Like as a jungler, the fact he didn't have a leash means that he took more damage on his first buff than he normally would have. Then the fact that you don't get that extra potion, and coming into 4.11 depends on how much you're adjusted to that. They've been playing a lot of solo queue, so he would know. But Ko didn't do the same thing he did. Ko went for the early gank and had twice as much HP in his pool when he went in for the engage, which paid off because if he was any lower, he would have died to turret.
That's true, actually, and you're right. That was the one thing is you talked about Dan's jungle pathing. Yep, he took double golems, was level 4, and as you mentioned, went to go like support top with a low health bar, and that was a big part of it. So these little small things, just sometimes they add up. If you maximize the jungle route and get 50 health back, guy would have lived, right? Like things like that, just sometimes they matter. Having your flash back up versus not having your flash up. You saw, again, later on, Ko went to go gank mid, didn't have his flash to chase the kill onto a Nikki. All these things sometimes just kind of cascade into one another. These little things can turn the game.
Yeah, and NIP, I mean, they're taking advantage of these tiny, tiny mistakes that in solo queue or in lower lows, you'll be like, oh, that's not a big deal. But when everybody is pretty even in skill, because they're all challenger.
Yes.
Right? They're all top challenger teams. When everybody's even in skill, it's kind of like, all right, did you accidentally go a little too overboard? Did you accidentally do one more camp? Did you miss a cannon minion twice? And now I have like 100 more gold than you?
Yeah. I got Athene's a wave earlier. That can matter a whole bunch. Now my ulti comes back first. There's all a bunch of little things that are going to matter. We're going to see how game 2 pans out. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, it's time for that second game between Unicorns of Love and Ninjas in Pajamas. Don't go anywhere.
there he goes.
Goes in for the damage right there. Dan very low on health. Look at the burst coming out. Jumps to a minion, but first blood comes through. All right, well, he lands the evil. Flash stun comes in. Vardog actually loses his heal move speed because of the stun. Q-Barrel's going to get dodged away. Goes in towards Alex as hard as she can. Does she have enough damage? Though the turret's going to help. One hit gets it. Hillsong forced to flash over the wall, but now Vardog slowed up. Can they chase him out? Yes, they can. Another one goes through. A nice Zonies, but he's got to be careful. The rest of the team's still around him. Vizitachi goes in, will find Alex and claims the kill. 1 for 0. Ko flashes out. Voidal gets picked up, actually. Ko wants this. Alex Itch does as well. They trade back and forth. Hillsong running from the culling. He will survive that, but Freeze's auto attacks do not let him live. 3 kills.